What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is June 5th of 2018. Well, folks, it's time for a daily update here on the DataDash channel, and today we have a lot of things to discuss here on the daily update. First and foremost, as always, we're going to be spending some time looking at market evaluations as well as doing some technical analysis on the market leaders. But outside of this as well, we have some key topics to discuss. The first two things that we have to take a look at have to do with some positive developments in regards to both the SEC and different institutions within the South Korean government going towards developing understanding and terms in relation to cryptocurrencies, which will help further improve and expand the industry. So we've got a lot of things to discuss, guys. Let's not push it off any longer and dive right in to the daily update. So taking a look at the market here, as much as we've got some interesting news to look at, for the most part, markets are generally stagnant, guys. Again, we're still in the current moment where there's not enough liquidity in the market, but there is some exciting stuff to notice and some things to keep in mind in regards to keeping an eye on the market at the moment. So as we can see here, again, generally, for the most part, most things are up 1 or 2% or down 1 or 2%, nothing too serious, with a few players making more volatile moves. But as we take a look here at market cap over the past few hours, we have seen a dip in the market around a $20 billion correction in market valuation, with volume again remaining stagnant. This is not, massive, sell side action. This isn't massive buy side action as we've been seeing over the past few days. We have been pretty much in this volume trends for the past month. And because of this, we are in a lack of liquidity at the moment. We're dealing with a liquidity crisis right now in regards to trading. We're not seeing new volume come in yet. So it's a matter of keeping an eye on the technical indicators, what the charts are telling us, as well as market dominance, to see when we might see that next liquidity push, when we might see altcoins continue to run up alongside Bitcoin. So we take a look here at market dominance. Again, Bitcoin dominance continues to stay low, below 40%. We have yet to see a top towards 40%. I don't think we're going to see it, but again, we might test towards the higher range, seeing as we're seeing Bitcoin drop down a tad bit further, as we'll talk about later on when we take a look at Bitcoin. But for the most part, as you can see here, other coins holding quite well in market dominance, as well as Ethereum, which is starting to rise back up steadfast towards 18%. So I want to spend some time to talk about Bitcoin here because, again, we're going really close towards the 6th of the month. And, look, I think it's almost become a meme at this point. I don't really know if the chart's really going to factor that in, if we're really going to get a bottom on the 6th. Who knows? We might see it. But the fact of the matter is we are getting very close again to retesting towards the support line in regards to the wedge. So we have the line of resistance and the line of support in the wedge, the bottom line that has garnered support here in the past, over here, as well as over here. And I think we might come down to test it again. As we've seen over here, you can usually get a rebound in the price off of a support line and come back down. And within a wedge, it's pretty common to have multiple points of resistance and multiple levels of support. So I think we're going to come down and again tap around, $7,100, $7,150, whatever it is, depending on, at what precise moment we come down towards the end of the wedge. But I think this is going to be really one of the last levels that we have to test for support because we have 3 times in the past here, as well as 3 points of resistance. So I think it's about time, once we settle down in regards to support here, that we really might start to see a serious curvature like we saw back in April with some serious volume. And we might be able to really break out of the wedge, which I think is going to be the technical indicator to get us going. And then hopefully later on we will have the catalyst, much like we had in regards to last year. We had the Bitcoin futures. I think we're going to see talks of the Bitcoin ETF coming out this year. So I think that's going to be the motive here. I think that's what's generally going to be driving Bitcoin towards the end of 2018 and what could lead us towards my price target for the year, which is quite exuberant to say the least. So at the moment, again, I think we're going to see a curvature down here as we have drawn here on the chart, and we're going to see a nice ride down on the support line, might get a nice little pop off, a rebound, and then continue on the uptrend. It's generally what I'm looking for. I'm playing that at the moment. So let's go ahead here, take a look at a few more different players. Ethereum still getting resistance at the 21-day, trying to see if it can get back above there, get a close above, but at the moment we are just not seeing enough push. Again, we have a lot of excitement going around in regards to EOS. Some people have some positive opinions, some have negative. I think some people are talking we'll talk about EOS later. Someone is saying I'm shilling EOS. I don't really care to shill it that much. Let's go on here to take a look at XRP BTC. Ripple, again, having that nice pop a few days ago. No serious volume coming in, but enough to get above the 21-day moving average. As we can see here, as we turn on the 50-day, we have garnered support on the 50-day moving average. And I have to say, Ripple, more than anything, is one of the telltale signs that we're possibly going to be seeing another altcoin cycle soon. And why am I believing this? Well, because Ripple itself is a momentum player. I mean, we take a look at its previous price history. We load it here on Bittrex because that gives us the most price action. We see that Ripple is a momentum player. Now, we usually tend to see in most cycles that Ripple, obviously corrects a lot more of its gains than it has. However, altcoin dominance is rising. And as much as to be fair, guys, I don't really like Ripple's currency because I don't think it holds much value. I think the technology is awesome. But in regards to not having to use the coin, look, it has a very speculative level of value. Okay, it's understandable at this moment. That being realized, though, there could be an opportunity here that we should look out for. And if it's able to hold on the 200-day, whereas it wasn't in the past, and not only fell through, but also saw resistance, this could be a moment for Ripple to possibly shine. Again, we've been seeing Tron trend back up. We've been seeing, I think, we've had Verge. Obviously, Verge had its rally and everything, and it's corrected now. But Ripple might be able to sustain this uptick. We might be able to see it make higher levels and hold on the 200-day as it has over the past 2 months. So, as we step into June and look towards an altcoin cycle, I'm keeping an eye on Ripple in regards to a momentum trade. Not really a long-term investment, just keeping my eye on it as a trade. Bitcoin Cash, a hot mess right now. I don't like this chart. It's again like the past. There's a lot of lack of consistency in regards to its price compared to Bitcoin. It's USD as well. We were toying around with $1,000 the other day. We still generally are, but yeah, really don't like this chart. It's not giving us much intel. If anything, if we see Bitcoin correct, I think we're going to see this come back down. Again, if we have a few more days of correction, this is going to come back down to the $900, $2,000 range. I'd like to see if it could double bottom down here. And if it could do that, maybe I'd look at Bitcoin Cash. But at the moment, nothing too serious. Now, going towards EOS, someone was mentioning, Nick, now that you have EOS, you're shilling and stuff. Look, guys, I'm not shilling EOS. EOS is a top 5 coin. That's why I do it. I go through the market leaders, the top 5, and then it kind of gets scattered from there on, covering different projects that we talk about that my fans are interested in. But in regards to EOS itself, again, there's a lot of speculation with EOS. The one thing that a lot of people have been mentioning is the concentrated supply of EOS's tokens, who owns EOS tokens. And to be fair, guys, it's the same with Ethereum and the same with a lot of other cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of isolated control. Same with Bitcoin as well in regards to owning cryptocurrencies and the mass volume of these coins and tokens. So it's something to keep fair and not just hit EOS on. But in regards to EOS specifically, we have had a nice pop-up before mainnet. Supposedly mainnet hasn't gone completely live yet. It's still going through the process of launching, obviously. Things don't happen overnight in most cases. But for the most part, right now, we're not seeing any increased liquidity. I think it's, again, a buy the hype, sell the news kind of event where at least you're going to want to wait until this comes down to the 50 or 21-day moving average, which, ironically enough, are lining up here. Again, like I said, guys, EOS is a cool project. I'm keeping on my eye on it long term as a competitor with Ethereum, but for the moment, there's just not enough in regards to me to just get overly bullish on it. So hopefully that shows I'm not shilling it as many people are talking about. Going on here to talk about Litecoin. Litecoin itself, again, still keeping a sharp eye on this one. It's holding below all of the moving averages at the moment, which I usually wouldn't toy with, but it's still generally holding around 1,600,000 Satoshis, this line of support that we've seen over the past few months. And with this as well, again, I'm keeping an eye on the USD chart right now. If this can continue to hold at these levels, and I think as Bitcoin, again, continues to correct, we're going to see this come back down to the lows around here in regards to slightly above $100. If it continues to hold here and we start to see a curvature in altcoins, I think Litecoin would be one of the market leaders we want to keep an eye on here, so long as we can continue to garner support here and start to have a curvature back up through the descending part of the triangle here, where we could actually see a reversal. Usually, a descending triangle is usually not a good trend to see. So if we see a breakdown, again, that could be bad. But if it does break up against the descending triangle, that could also be a good sign as well. So going on here to take a look at a few more players, ADA BTC, Cardano. Cardano breaking below the 21-day. We might get a close back up above it, but again, with Bitcoin correcting, I don't think you'll see it. I think you're going to see altcoins have one last flush. I think you're going to see Cardano come down to these lows again, see if it can garner support. Same goes with a lot of other market players. We have Icon, for example. Icon, I think it's going to roll back over, at least touch those lows, maybe come down to the big even it didn't touch at 3,000. That would be nice. Going on to a few other protocols here. And one that I don't look at too much, XLMBTC, Lumens. Lumens itself is right now, let's see if we can get it here on Bittrex, get a little more price action, holding between the 21-day and the 50-day moving average. I think, again, you could see this come back down to somewhere around 3,500 Satoshis. And again, if we're lucky, before we really get the altcoin cycle, for this to come down towards finding support on the 200-day moving average. I think that'd be healthy. I think it's what it needs here, and you need to get some more bottom support if this is going to confirm a wedge here in regards to price action. Going on as well to take a look at a few more players. Someone was asking about Monero in the last video. Monero is, again, below all of the moving averages right now. It's indicating that it wants to go down again. I guess I don't have it on this exchange here, but it wants to come down to the previous line of support we've been seeing here generally. This is usually the buy range. This is usually the sell range. This is just generally an ascending channel. You know, it's not always consistent, but what you want to see is that it comes down and garners support more around this range. You know, you definitely, you don't want to risk just waiting all the way down here, but you don't want to get too eager as well when you could possibly get a better discount in regards to this. So I think this at least needs to come down to 2 million Satoshis before I consider doing a trade on Monero. It's definitely on the higher end of things. Going on through two more players here, let's go ahead and take a look here at Nulls BTC. Many people have been keeping an eye on Nulls. Still waiting for this to come down to the 45,000 Satoshi mark on the 50-day moving average. I think what we need is contact with that. We didn't get that over here. If it can hold there, I think, again, once we get the altcoin cycle, this could continue to move up and confirm the cup and handle in regards to price action. Last one we'll take a look at here. Let's take a look at one that I got requested for, Wanchain BTC. Guys, look, Wanchain, man, Wanchain got eaten up and spit out by the whole ICO crowd. It was a flipper, as many people will call it. They got into it and then they flipped it around, and pretty much, I think, just pretty much got rid of it. So, yeah, that's the whole thing about a lot of these ICOs, guys. The market right now is just oversaturated with protocols and all types of different types of ICOs launching out. So with Wanchain, I would be very careful with this one. It got rejected at the 21-day. We've already seen practically almost a 50% correction. I would not touch it until I saw support at 4,000 Satoshis at the moment. That's just me. But anyways, going on here, guys, again, general consensus of the market is we're going to hopefully see Bitcoin come down to this level. Altcoins will generally follow over the next day or so, depending on how long it takes. It'll probably happen on 6th of the 6th tomorrow. But either way, I think we're going to come down, find support here, and then hopefully we could see into mid-June an altcoin cycle start to form. We'll have to see that. And we can tell that the market bottom is starting to come in. One of my favorite indicators is when you go on r/Bitcoin and all you see is just Bitcoin memes everywhere. So, yeah, okay, that's... Anyways, yeah, so there's all kinds of different memes and stuff. There's this one, I got a good kick out of this one, where a guy pretty much told his friend in January, don't worry, check the price for Bitcoin in 6 months. He sent him the photo, so I thought that was pretty funny. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, when you see people memeing, it is I guess it's the epitome of the 5 steps of acceptance, you know? It's people just realizing, like, okay, you know, this is it. It's happened. The correction has come in. It's over. And then usually when everyone feels it's over, that's generally when you get the bull run coming. That's just how generally markets cycle. And as we start to break through this wedge, it can be coming at a better time. But talking about more of the positive developments here, I want to spend some time to talk about 2 positive articles, one in relation to the SEC and one in relation to South Korea. So going on to talk about the SEC, they just appointed a new advisor, what they call a crypto czar, first ever in regards to the SEC, who is specialized in blockchain and cryptocurrencies in the past, or distributed ledger technology, and has helped with token raises and different types of aspects in regards to the cryptocurrency space that the SEC will deal with. And what's nice is that she's serving in an advisory role that's going to help lead in the decision-making process for the SEC. Again, a very positive thing. It's, in this case, in regards to the SEC, who's filling these roles and what roles do they serve, you know, under their different roles of leadership. What's nice is that basically Valerie, oh God, I remember I looked up how to pronounce the name. I'm not going to try, okay? I don't want to embarrass myself. Generally speaking, though, Valerie has, like I said, been through the process of helping out in regards to leading in regards to cryptocurrency and token sale operations throughout the SEC before, and her new role she's going to be serving under is going to help her further push the agenda that she's worked in before and help lead in the SEC with dealing with these issues. Again, the big push that they really kind of push here, I love her quote here, it shows how generally the SEC has been trying to approach this market. Many people think that the SEC is an absolute hawk on cryptocurrencies. They, just like the CFTC and a few other institutions, they have different definitions of cryptocurrencies and different interpretations. But the fact that they've been actually allowing a lot of things to go on in the cryptocurrency space shows that they don't really want to suppress the cryptocurrency space. In fact, they want to make sure to protect Main Street investors. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you don't need the government to protect you. And guys, I get that. But the thing is, we don't have proper education in the United States, at least in the US, in regards to the SEC, about how to spot scams, how to spot fraud, how to spot Ponzi schemes. And there's a lot of that in the crypto space. There's a lot of get-rich-quick mentality. And there's also some corrupt things in regards to the ICO space and all these different things. So because of that, I think it's really nice to see someone who says that they're excited to take on this new role to help protect mainstream investors, but also to help bring capital formation, to help formulate this industry, to help set regulatory definitions that are still very obscure right now, and actually help foster innovation to help support the ICO space going back towards its roots and bringing in retail investors into the space. I hope that's what we can see. But again, either way, it's good to have people like this in here who can actually come in and actually lead us towards more positive developments and at least adoption of some sort into cryptocurrencies rather than suppression. So next up, I want to spend some time to talk about the Supreme Court case in South Korea that went about defining Bitcoin as an asset, because I think many people obviously will look at this and get all excited at the headline, but I think it's important to look at the deeper roots of the case and to really understand about how this was brought about and a lot of the positives that came out of it, as well as some of the negatives that pretty much started this case in the first place. So going through here, let's go ahead and talk about it. I'll give a quick rundown in regards to the case before we dive into the article. But basically speaking, this case was surrounded by an individual known as An, who was running an illicit pornography website in South Korea. And through operating that website, he was able to earn 191 Bitcoin. But when he was discovered, obviously the prosecution wanted to seize the Bitcoin because under South Korean law, that's a criminal activity. However, basically, as we go through here, they realized that they weren't able to do it and, in fact, had to turn over a pre-existing law, as we'll talk about later on in the article. But basically, one of the lower courts below the Supreme Court, the Suwon's District Court, had basically stated it is not appropriate to confiscate Bitcoins because they are in the form of electronic files without physical entities, unlike cash. Virtual currency cannot assume an objective standard of value. So the reason they're basically saying this is that there's no standard of value to Bitcoin. So because of that, you can't seize it as if he was earning money of some sort as an exchange of value. Under the current interpretation, there was no standard of value or understanding of value with Bitcoin, no exchange of value that people could find within Bitcoin in this case. So because of this, the prosecution was eager to find a way to basically go about overturning this. They overturned a law in regards to the that pretty much allowed them to go about seizing the funds. But in doing so, they had practically a catch-22. They had to go about saying that cryptocurrencies are recognized to have value, so it can be confiscated. Okay, this was making legitimacy behind the case. The reason they did it is obvious, guys. They wanted to make sure that he didn't get the returned Bitcoins from an illegal activity, from illicit activity. So in this case, through doing so, they not only were able to seize funds from someone who had committed a criminal activity in South Korea, and it might not be good for An, but in this case, it is very good for cryptocurrencies because it shows in the second highest court, the Supreme Court's the second highest court, from my understanding, in South Korea, that the second highest court in South Korea sees a sense of value in these cryptocurrencies and sees that they are a legitimate asset class. So this is going to help define a lot of the roadmap for the legal framework and understanding and continue to push for more, I would assume, positive regulation in regards to the cryptocurrency space to help ICOs flourish, to help cryptocurrencies develop long term. So in that case, this is definitely a positive development in regards to the longevity of crypto. And we can see that, again, not only has there been this news in South Korea, but there's also been back in in late May, we saw that there might be a legalization of ICOs soon for South Korea. We've seen that there's been some push from a lot of different legislative bodies. The National Assembly has put forth an official proposal to open up the floodgates for ICOs and set a regulatory environment for it. There's been a lot of positive developments with South Korea. I think people haven't been batting an eye to it because we all kind of got shunned out back in January and February with all the FUD that was coming in regards to South Korea. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of FOMO in the next few months in regards to all this. And I think we're going to see that the South Korean government, as well as the US government, as well as a variety of governments, even the Chinese government, is opening up much more towards the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. And I think we'll see more and more of that over the next few months. But I'd like to hear what you all think down in the comments down below. What do you all think? Do you think we're going to see more positive developments in these countries? What do you think about the case in South Korea? What do you think about the SEC appointing its new advisor? And what do you all think about crypto markets at the moment? I'd like to hear down in the comments down below. Get a discussion going, guys. I always appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.